Hello. I think it takes a minute to go live here, so I'm just going to give it a minute and let anybody that can pop on. And I don't know how great my internet connection is going to be right now. So we're just going to roll with what we have, giving it just a second here. All right. Just give it just a moment. All right. Well, welcome to anybody that's watching. Um, if you are here, just say hello. I am coming to you from Dublin, Ireland, and excited to be here. And yeah, just wanted to take a moment. So it's 3 p.m. here. I know it's 10 a.m. in Iowa. It's maybe 11 or 12 wherever you are, or 8, I don't know. It depends where you're coming from. But yeah, I'm just here. I'm in Dublin. I'm preparing for the retreat, doing a bit of work today, and um, moving through jet lag, which has been interesting and always is interesting for some reason for me. I'm sure it is for everybody, but yeah, I'm moving through, and it's yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So yeah, if you're here and you have any questions, you want to ask any questions, feel free. Oh, somebody said, oh, it's Eileen. Hello. Good morning, Eileen. Nice to see you. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being the one person watching at the moment. um, so we'll make this kind of quick, but just wanted to check in with you and let you know what your nervous system wants you to know. And I know I've shared this in here probably before, but it's a really nice reframe to think that your nervous system, oh, let me just get my plug in here. Sorry, one moment. Your nervous system is not out to get you, your body, your brain, they're not out to get you. Sometimes it can feel that way. I know a lot of clients I've worked with have mentioned, like maybe this is you as well, like what you are supposed to be doing, the things that help you, and yet you don't do them. I've had so many people tell me that. It's like, why can't I stick to a routine? Why do I keep going back and sabotaging myself over and over again with coping mechanisms or sabotaging thoughts or, whatever it is? And I just want to say that your brain and nervous system don't hate you. They're not out to get you, they're not out to punish you. It's just that they're working off of old systems, right? And especially your nervous system. So, nervous system is like 400 to 500 million years old. Your thinking mind is like 150 to 200 million years old. So, that right there tells you that we can't figure shit out with our minds. As much as we've been indoctrinated into doing that in our society, as much as psychology and personal growth and personal development would tell us otherwise, none of us are taught how to like work through our bodies. None of us are taught about our nervous systems, and that in order to get what we want in life, we have to get our nervous system on board with that. And when I speak to your nervous system, I'm also kind of talking about your brain as well, because obviously they're connected. But your nervous system is very old, and it's very instinctual, and it's very primal. And so, this is why a lot of people don't want to go there, right? We don't want to deal with our body. We don't want to feel sensations. Most of us have been running from sensations and running from feeling our feelings our whole lives, because this is just not something that we do in our society, right? So, but the secret to really, and I know I've been right there with other personal development people, helping you work on your mindset. And things really started to shift for me physically, my health, my relationships, my bank account, everything started to shift more and more the more I went into my body and started feeling those uncomfortable feelings, being with those sensations. It's also a deep practice. It's all the things that I've learned through yoga and meditation and all of that, about being present, about being grounded, about being more here, more in the flow. Actually, all of that starts happening more the more I get into my body. But here's the thing. If we've had any sort of trauma, which we all have to some degree or another, but especially those of us with childhood trauma, we are not living in our bodies. We're living in our heads. And that's making us feel very scattered, very overwhelmed, and all over the place, and procrastinating and perfectioning, that's a new word, trying to make everything perfect, all that kind of stuff, people pleasing, that's all coming from your head. And the more you start getting into your body, the more you start radically shifting these patterns so much quicker than you could through your thinking mind, because the issues live in our tissues. The trauma is stored in there. And this isn't just like okay, I'll do this for like a month and then I'm good. This is like your life now. This is what you do now, is you feel sensations. And, every day you can think of like your cup, like a cup, or like, that's probably the best way to describe it. But like, there's a cup and it gets full because you're interacting with people, you're getting emails, you're on social media, you're dealing with things at work, you're dealing with things with your kids. Your cup starts getting full of everybody's stuff and all this energy that you're taking on and all of these things that you're processing. So if we don't take time to empty out that cup, then that's when we start maxing out. That's when we start getting into overwhelm, getting into scattered feeling, getting into being spaced out, getting into shutting down. If we want to talk about on a nervous system level, shutting down, is that dorsal vagal. It's the low end of the spectrum. It's not bad. But it's more of that avoidance state, right? So we want to kind of numb out. We want to check out because the cup's so full. I can't take on anymore. I just need to check out. Give me a high five or a thumbs up if that's you, if you're resonating with that, right? You just get so full of everything that you just want to check out. That's going into an immobilized or more of a collapsed nervous system state, which again is not bad, but it's just not ideal to stay there for long periods of time. And some of us do. I know I did for a while with the chronic fatigue. Or we go into a sympathetic state of fight, flight, or fawn, where we're like people pleasing, or we're just like really reactive to the world around us. We're really overly emotional. Or flight, we just kind of want to stay really busy so we don't have to deal, right? That's one version of flight. Let me know where you resonate on that scale. But what we want to get into is the parasympathetic, which is that rest and digest. And we want to begin to live there more. But your body is just an animal. It's just instinctual. It's just primal. So if there's constant threat, like this was really what kind of blew my mind open about this stuff when I started learning it, is that by my actions and how I'm feeling, I'm sending signals to my brain that says we are under threat, as if there's a tiger about to chase me. I'm sending the same signals to my brain that there's a tiger or there's a bear about to chase me. Be on high alert. Now, I was doing this unconsciously, so we don't beat ourselves up here. Please get rid of judgment. But when you start attuning to your inner sensations and noticing when you are off, when things are off, everything starts to change, because now you start to be, I don't want to use the word in control, because again, this is primal stuff. We're not really necessarily in control, and that we don't want to make that our goal, because that's more of the mind. The mind is controlling, fixing, fighting, figuring out all of that. But for lack of a better word, you begin to have more control over these automatic systems. And you can begin to influence, is maybe a better word, you can begin to influence the nervous system to work with you instead of it kind of feeling like it's working against you, when really it's just trying to protect you. The nervous system is just trying to protect you. If you can see it that way, that's a great reframe, because it is really a loving act to protect you, to make sure you're okay, to make sure that you stay alive. It's actually a very beautiful act. It just comes at a cost of all the shit that you're trying to work through in your life, all the habits and patterns and things that you don't necessarily like are an effect of what state your nervous system is in. When you begin to learn how to get yourself into a parasympathetic state more and more, which takes time, and again is a lifelong practice. This isn't a one and done. This is an understanding that once you have it, will change your life, but is also, it's a maintenance thing. You gotta put the effort, the discipline in to move the energy in your body as it comes up, to move the feelings in your body as they come up, and to feel the sensations more in your body. And for a lot of people, this work is very, very scary. I know it was for me at first, because when we're so used to living in our head and avoiding our body, avoiding our feelings, avoiding our truth, some of that stuff that rests in your heart that you're not really listening to, but you can feel, you tap into it every once in a while, and then you're like, it's kind of like what I had the thought this morning when I couldn't sleep at some odd hour of the morning, that I can see why people don't like to travel alone or be alone. I've spent a lot of time alone in my life, and now that I have a partner, it's, I'm used to being around him, and so now all of a sudden I'm alone, and it's like all your thoughts start to come. You're thinking about things that you don't normally have time to think about, because there's just always so much to do just naturally. And then some of us add on a bunch of things so that we don't have to, so that we're constantly busy, so that we don't have to think. And, thankfully I've done a lot of work with my thoughts, so the thoughts that are coming while I'm here aren't necessarily bad. It's just, I'm just thinking about things differently because I have time and space to think about them. And I really believe that's a gift that travel gives us. It gives us, everything is new, so your brain has to work harder. Our brains love to be on autopilot. They love, this is where the light switch is when I get up in the morning. This is where the bathroom is. This is where my stuff is. Our brains hate, this is my route to work. I make my coffee, I put my clothes on, I do these things, right? That's what our brains love. They hate when everything gets changed. And so I always recommend, do that for yourself because it makes you work harder. It rewires things in your brain. It makes you look and be more present. You have to really be present when you don't have an automatic response to things, when you don't automatically know where things are. You have to be more alert. You have to be more present. So it's actually a very great practice in getting more present. And then even though I'm in an English-speaking country, it's still very hard to hear and understand people. So it just, yeah, you just have to work a little bit harder, and that's a good thing. So, but travel is very dysregulating. So it's moving is dysregulating. Having a child move out of the house is dysregulating. Any kind of big transition that you may be taking in your life is dysregulating. And so we want to honor those times by moving slower and giving ourselves space to feel. And then the real big key here with nervous system understanding is that anything that you're feeling is okay. But what do? We go, oh, I'm feeling really sad right now, and I'm not really sure why, but I shouldn't be feeling like this. Look at all the things I have to be grateful for. You should feel grateful. You shouldn't feel sad, right? We condemn ourselves. We shame ourselves for how we feel all the time. I'm really pissed off that my friend, didn't show up today or canceled at the last minute, but I need to get over it. No. Now, feeling your feelings doesn't mean you call up your friend and be like, that was a real asshole move, right? It doesn't mean you have to aggressively let stuff out, but it means you have to feel. We don't shove it down and go, I shouldn't be feeling this way right now. I should be feeling. We allow ourselves to feel whatever we're feeling. We say, yeah, that hurt. That hurt that my friend canceled on me. There's a different level of peace that comes when you start allowing yourself to be okay with whatever you're feeling, whatever you're experiencing. And I see this so much, and I kind of feel almost like I'm a master, a master at all the bad shit. And that's why God, source, universe put me in this role, because man, I had so many bad programming and so much judgment and so much condemning of how I feel because I am a teacher, because I, teach this stuff. Then there's an extra layer for me of where I can condemn myself, where I can judge, because it's like I should be this way because I'm teaching people this stuff. And it's like, no, I shouldn't. And no, I'm not perfect. And yeah, I'm going to feel crappy sometimes. And yeah, there's going to be times that I don't move through my feelings. And yeah, there's going to be times that I judge myself. Actually, but I'm getting much better at that. It's the shame piece. It's the shame piece that really gets us. And it's toxic. So that's all that really your nervous system just wants you to know, that it's trying to protect you. If you internally or externally put yourself in a place that is threatening, and by that I mean you're receiving it could be something as simple as this. You receive an email from your boss or from a client or from a coworker that's asking you to do something, and it instantly makes you go into an anxious state, and you're like, I did that, and you're responding back aggressively. Your nervous system is now communicating to your brain, we are under threat. There's a bear about to chase us and attack us. Prepare. So we get really hypervigilant, we fixate, we're in fight or flight, our cortisol gets increased throughout our system. The energy goes away from digestion, goes to our arms and legs. Sometimes our pupils will get dilated. We are in a stress response. Cortisol, again, is pumping through our system, which is not something that's supposed to be happening on a regular basis. 95% of all diseases are from stress. And it's because we're living in these states of being amped up. And that's not to shame us. It's not to shame ourselves. Unconsciously, this is happening. Most likely because at some point in your life, you experienced some sort of trauma that wired your system to be on alert for anything that looks similar to that. And so we you know, our external environment is always giving us these cues, you know, that man's looking at me with a, you know, grumpy look on his face. I bet he's going to try to hurt me, you know, and then everything gets amped up again. Let me know if this is landing. I'm just curious if this stuff is landing. When I first heard some of this stuff, it's just like 45 different light bulbs turned on and everything started making more sense as to why I was experiencing what I was experiencing. So, yes, that is kind of all I wanted to share. Is just, you know, I want you to just think about reframing that my nervous system is just trying to protect me, and it's my job to create an internal space of safety. How can I do that? All right, so yes. Okay, DT Roman is saying 100%. Yes. Good. I'm glad, because, you know, it's not that I need your reactions, but it's like sometimes I just go off on this kind of stuff because I'm just so passionate about it, because it's literally changed the game for me. That I just want to make sure that it's landing for you all if you're here. Okay. Last thing is, if you are wanting a little more support with this, I do have a program. It's brand new. In fact, it's still getting created and there's still more information to come out in it, but there's plenty in there now to start digesting. And it's called the Nervous System Reset. And it's going to give you not just an understanding, a deep, deep understanding of your nervous system, but it's also, there's a somatic exercise practice in there. Somatic just means your body, but it's not, we're not talking body work, okay? We're not talking like going and getting a massage, though that's great. This is like feeling sensations in your body, the stuff that you want to run from, you know? It's going to guide you through a process that you can come back to again and again and again to really begin to process sensations and gain a deeper relationship with your body. Remember, it's not one and done, so that's why I give you access to the program for longer than what it's the time that we're together, I should say. There's lots of different videos in there. There's worksheets. I call them soul work, to help you, again, go deeper. Some of us process better when we're writing things out. Some of us process better just by sitting and listening to some guided work. So there's several different guided, they're not meditations because it's feeling, right? So but we'll just call them, for lack of a better word, guided meditations. There's videos containing lots of information on the nervous system, how to work with your nervous system, what gets you dysregulated, how to re-regulate your body, and more. Like I said, I'm going to be adding more to that. The price will go up eventually because this is turning into a more extensive program than I had originally intended it to be, but that's what wants to come through. It's been a very interesting process creating this because I couldn't really see clearly what and how it would be laid out. I flow intuitively with this stuff. I've learned to anyway. That's been a practice. It's taken me a while. And I couldn't quite see clearly, but as I go along, I'm like, oh, well, if I talk about that, I need to talk about this. And if I talk about this, I want to also add that. And so it's kind of coming together, which is why the price is lower right now, because it's still being created. But like I said, there's plenty of information there. So I will leave a link below if you are interested in that. I also have some one-on-one availability starting in October. So if you're wanting to really go deep, you would get the nervous system reset program plus one-on-one sessions with me. So if you're really wanting to go deep into some really specific personal patterns and move through that with some support, if you've had some more severe trauma, for instance, or yeah, you're just wanting more support on your journey, there's some options for that starting in October, and just let me know if that's something you're interested in. So I thank you so much for being here with me from Ireland. I say thank you, and yeah, leave any messages later. And if you're watching this later, of course, just say #replay. I always like to know who stops by. And I hope you all have an amazing weekend and take some time to regulate your nervous systems. Just taking some deep breaths and just placing your hand over your heart, closing your eyes, taking deep breaths, kind of, just slightly rubbing your chest is always a really good way to send that signal to the brain, like, we're good right now. Your breath, by the way, is the #1 way that you let your brain know that you're good. And by good, I mean you're safe. There isn't a bear in the corner that's about to attack you. So remember well, I don't know if I said this earlier, so don't remember because I didn't say this, but oftentimes I'll tell my brain that we're safe, but know that the body doesn't understand that. The body doesn't understand language. The body understands sensation. So that's why the breath is a better way to communicate to the body that you're safe. So slowing your breath down, having a longer exhale, breathing in and out through the nose instead of the mouth. The mouth is what we breathe out of when we're running, right? So if you do that, you're sending signals that we need to turn on fight or flight, we need to prepare, we need to amp up our system. So in and out through the nose, slow the breath down, longer exhales will help tell your body that we're safe. Sounds interesting, Linda says. Yes. Trust me, this stuff is so interesting. And it's so, on some levels, it sounds so basic, but it's really quite nuanced because everybody's nervous system operates differently. What dysregulates you, Linda, is not what dysregulates me, and so on and so forth. So it's a very individual process to go through, which is why I created that program, because I want a clear map. I want a clear map for people to be able to work with their nervous systems, to work through sensations, and to begin to really heal on a completely different level. I forgot to mention too, it also includes 3 live calls if you sign up by a certain time. It'll include 3 live calls, and there's information on when those are. They're coming up at the end of September and October. And what else to say? I don't know. I think that's it. All right. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you that we're here live. And again, let me know if you have any questions. I will leave a link for you to check out the program below. And until next time, I'll see you soon.